Welcome to Morning Love, your daily dose of love, hope, and encouragement from here at Buckwheat Farms Magic Emporium and Ballroom. I'm glad you're here with us. Remember to like us down below and subscribe so that our content shows up in your inbox, in notifications when we're posting it. Today, I want to talk about what it means to be a witch. And I'm not talking about the way we will politely use witch instead of bitch, but what I'm talking about is a real witch. What does it mean to be a witch? We've had witches throughout history, and often what happens to witches is they get burned at the stake, or literally, or figuratively. And just give you a few examples of the witches. Harriet Tubman was a witch. How? What? Her greatest struggle was convincing the slaves that they were slaves. Because, see, the witch thinks outside of the consensus. The witch thinks outside of the status quo. The witch thinks outside of the scripted narrative. The witch embraces life from an entirely different perspective. And because that perspective is foreign to others, they reject it outright. And this is one of the struggles. I've talked about it in other content that we have, is especially those of us who see things that are going on, is trying to show others. And here is the other side of that sword. As a voluntarist, as an anarchist, as someone who believes in agorism, as someone who believes in totally voluntary interactions, I have no right to try to influence, and I have no interest to try to influence others. And that's the problem, is that for most of us witches, we just want to live like we want to live, and we don't want to play by your silly rules, because your rules are silly. To me, the wearing of a mask is silly, because I know the physical issues that come with inhibiting your breathing. And I know the physical benefits of proper breathing. In through the nose, exhaling through the nose. See, I know all those things. But because it steps outside of the consensus, I'm considered evil or a witch. Harriet Tubman, again, because her ideas stepped outside of consensus. So how is that? How is that fine line? Because I don't want to try to influence others. If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. If you want to engage with the government, engage with the government. If you want to do those things, do those things. Just don't expect me to participate. And again, it goes back to that whole thing of confirmation bias. And I hope and believe that I am repressing that issue within myself, that I'm addressing that issue within myself, not repressing, because it will express. Anything repressed, there's an interesting song on the Creek, the local radio station plays, push it down, it goes out sideways, and that's the thing with repressing anything. So I give it free expression within my mind, and then, address it and say, well, that's not what I want to do. I don't want to enforce my will upon others. I want to allow others to live how they wish to live, but at the same time, I want the reciprocity. Anyway, I want them to treat me the same. Reciprocity. Anyway, so there's the issue. So how, as a witch, do we deal with it? How, as a witch, do we deal with this finger pointing, this thing? Whenever we present a different idea, whenever we say we don't need an entity outside of ourselves telling us how to live our lives, we don't need government, we don't need to be governed. And when we point out the simple truths that those that we have given the authority to govern us are no more morally sufficient or morally deficient than we are. They're the same as we are. They're subject to the same whims, subject to the same urges as we are. And therein lies that idea, I guess, that we have to project some God outside of ourselves rather than accepting the divinity within us. So what do we do as witches in this? And that last part is key to that, accepting the divinity within us. There's another saying, and there's a song, and I can't remember who sings the song now, but it talks about how the best revenge is a life well lived. Now, I don't desire revenge because I don't need revenge, and I don't need justification. But the life well lived is the best impact. So if you are that witch and those thoughts are there, and rather than trying to convince everyone else, let's just live it out. Let's just be witches. Let's just do our magic, our intent. Let's set our intents, and let's create the world that we desire. And if they don't wish to live in it, they can continue in that world. That's the whole idea behind Steve Curtin's quote on underthrowing the government, underthrowing authority. So be the witch in your life today. Underthrow the authority. You are the authority in your life. You determine your health. You determine your wealth. You determine your well-being. You determine your future. You determine your present. Change your mind. Change your world. Namaste.